Hey guys, what's up? Back to it. I rationalized not doing this again for a few days. Kept saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. I got an episode that's terrible quality, so I gotta figure that out." Um, but put something out which is better than nothing. So bad quality or whatever. Um, Sometimes being an extrovert is extremely tiring. I think that's what I want to start with today. Uh, I get 2 off days a week. And if I call off, that's an extra off day. And if I call off, I'll typically go do something else. And on my off days, I feel like I'm filled with doing other things. I can't remember. I think it was like last Wednesday was the last time I actually spent myself like in the house doing things I needed to get done. But 9 out of 10 times I don't do that. Like I'm always outside and doing something. And that's exhausting. And I never really thought of how exhausting it was until I've been doing it so much recently. And I love the people I've been hanging out with. I want to hang out with those people. But I'm just so tired of that. And it's another thing I think I'm tired of. Um, I wonder if there's a relation between that and my loneliness. But then at the same time, I find that I'm not being honest about my loneliness. Like, I was kicking it with my homie and this girl. And I know they're like sleeping together. And part of me is like, I think, vicariously living through him sleeping with her. And it's like, I don't even want to sleep with anybody. I just wish I had someone who wanted to sleep with me. Um, because it would cure some sense of self esteem. Like, oh, someone likes me enough that they want to do this intimate thing with me, right? It's like they want to, I guess, worship me in some like sexual way. And worship me is like terrible language, but like praise. I guess like not. I hate to say it, bro. It's gonna sound like I'm a girl. Like I got a praise kink or something like that, because I don't. But I realized that like even in TMI for everybody, even in like my sexual like sense, it stems from having low self esteem. So I'm attracted to a girl just like wanting me, and like she's like whatever it takes to please you, I'll do that. Um, and that ultimately stems from the idea that it's like I don't like myself. So even how it manifests into that area is that. Sorry, I got off. Anyways, no, I was saying this for a reason. But like with my homie, I was hanging out with him and his girl, like this, him and his, not his girl, this girl. And I was just like trying to be honest, but I felt like I couldn't be honest because I was like, if I'm honest, I'm weird. That's because I know what I'm thinking and feeling is weird right now. It's not normal. And so, like, granted, is being normal. Knowing there's a time and place is different from being normal. Like that doesn't mean move into the mood. I guess it is. Um, like I'm not being my authentic self because at the end of the day, I'm not being honest. And I feel like if I can't be honest, then I'm too trapped in my self image to be honest. And it's like I want to be though. I really really want to be. So I give these subtle hints of what I'm thinking. What sucks about it is even this. Sometimes I like regret this podcast because I always end up talking about me. Or I'll talk to my friends and I want to just derp out and talk about me. Um, and it's like I don't want to have to talk about me, bro. I don't. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I recognize it. Sorry, I keep drinking water, but I recognize there's other things that are going on in my life and stuff that made me want to discuss me. But this, I guess, this is a good outlet for me. I don't. My friends don't need to always be affirming or walking me through my thoughts. I don't want to be that type of person. I want to be able to see the problem that's going on in my head and be able to solve it, look at it, and handle it. And then bring that to my friends. Like, hey, here's what's going on in my life. Not that I'm doing this for you to affirm some aspect of it or for you to fix it in some way, but just for like, because it's just me. Like, it's a part of me right now. Um, Anyways, sorry. Yeah, just been going out a lot and it's exhausting. And I already know I have plans for like the 20th. And then I have some other plans maybe for next week. Like every day that I have off, and it's like, oh, it's exhausting. But I get it though, because when you work, you make plans for all these things on these days, especially when you work an odd schedule like me, which is like 3 to 11:30. Um, I've thought about switching and going to like the call center so I can get off work earlier, but I already know I would hate the call center. I can't do that to myself. I don't I already don't like my job enough as is, and I don't want to work another like more jobs that I hate. Like that would just be treacherous to me. Um, yeah. Right now, I'm thinking about how long I want this podcast to be. I would like this to be longer because let's talk about that. How I want this to be longer to make up for the lost time. Whereas my goal shouldn't be to make up for the lost time. I don't owe this to you guys. I owe it to myself. As a person who wishes to be consistent, and that's something I have to realize. I have to be like, oh, dude, they didn't hear me talk all week, so now I have to uh, make a longer episode to compensate. And it's like I don't really need to compensate. I think you guys will enjoy the length and time as long as you get to hear me. If you are coming back to this podcast, do hear me. Excuse me, sorry. Then I appreciate that, and I hope you would take me as I am, which is like no matter the length of these things. Um, yeah, yeah. So I guess that's really what's been going on. I'm just exhausted from always having plans and always doing something. I don't really set the time apart for me. And I think I feel pressured sometimes. Like I have a friend who I have plans with I think next Wednesday because I haven't seen her in forever, and she's lonely, and I kind of want to be there for her. But this is also the worst part about that is I know it's not really authentic. Like I really do want to see this person, but at the same time, it's like part of me is like, oh, I can get my teacher friend out of it, which is awful. I should not be teaching anybody anything about self help. I've learned some things that I think are great in approach, but at one, I haven't actualized them, and two, people who vent don't care. And I really just need to remind myself of that so much, bro. People don't care. I remember some girl posted up the other day, like, what's your anonymous thoughts about me? And I had replied, I'm like, you don't realize your own potential. And even if you did, you're comfortable and content where you are, so you won't do anything to change it, even though you say you want to. And she literally, because it was anonymous, she was like, you're so right. Like, I called her out. And she's like, but I'm going to keep doing it. And I remember I had a conversation with a friend not too long ago, like earlier in the year. And like, we broke it down and got to their bones. And she was like, I need this period, though, of wilding out. And I'm like, bro, at least you're being real. Like, you're telling me you're right. I don't want to grow. I don't want to be better. I'm like, okay, well, don't complain when it doesn't get better. Or I guess do complain, but just keep the complaining real. Understand, like, you're not the one. You're not fixing it, so. Um, so I gotta remind myself of that. I feel like those are like my real big issues right now. It's like my lust issue, my loneliness issue, and my I want to have it all figured out issue. Those are probably the big ones right now. I think I also have other issues. Consistency is a big issue. My lack of relationship, I think, with God right now is a big issue. I do not feel as connected to God as I think I could. Um, but I'm also not surrendering so much of myself to Him. I think I'm existing right now passively, knowing He exists, but not acting as if He is. No, if He does, I mean, and that's I know this word like God comes with a lot of baggage for people, and I am talking about like the historical traditional Christian God, but I don't want that to be like a barrier for people. When I want them to understand that I'm talking about the infinite unconditional existence of love and grace that is given to all of us. That is something that I'm not in relation and connection with. Even though I believe that that love came down and sacrificed itself for me just to be in a relationship with me. And I'm like consciously, not consciously, just passively rejecting that relationship in action. Um, yeah. I also don't want this to be about my problems all the time. I'm venting. This is definitely a podcast to get my feelings and thoughts out and stuff like that. But there's more to me than my events and stuff like that. Like no, I shouldn't say there's more to me. There's just like more things to talk about. There's positives that happened this week. I ran into my ex, and we had a conversation that was really nice. It was a great conversation. I liked it. Um, it was super cool. It wasn't awkward. It was actually honestly the most present I felt this entire week. There was no overthinking. It was all momentary. It was all just me existing as is, just talking. And then looking back, I started overthinking, be like, did I say this right and stuff like that, like, you know. But in the moment, dude, I was just truly existing, and I was like, that's dope. She's doing well, and I'm really happy about that for her. But yeah, that's I guess what's new with Shane. So thanks for listening.